So a few days back, I made this video where we were saying that Africa is joining the Antichrist system or the Antichrist form of religion. When you went to the Abrahamic belief, Abrahamic faith house, what. Now, for those that didn't watch that video, you're going to have to go watch that video first. And then you can just scroll on the channel, you'll see it. And then this video is going to explain furthermore the agenda. I want to explain the belief agenda and the end time goal agenda, the thing to look out for. And it will explain for you why this channel is here. It will explain for you the goal point. I think sometimes people see the deception, but they don't see the goal post. Like, where does it take us? Where does it go? From here, where does it go? It's Ricky's Reality Show, daily Christian commentary videos. Now, that's the goal of this video. Now, that's why I am calling it the unity agenda. You see, when Alph went to the Abrahamic house of faith, the goal has been an old goal. The Catholics have been trying this from way back. The Freemasons have been emphasizing this idea. The Illuminati has been emphasizing this idea. The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Organization, these are all satanic. They've been emphasizing and trying to get this done. I'm going to show you how. Let's start with the Catholics, right? The whole thing of us coming into one faith or acknowledging one faith. You'll remember in that video I mentioned for Alph to go in there and then pray there. That's the thing, acknowledging their spiritual root to even go there and start praying in their temple. Okay? Yes, you can pray everywhere, but you pray there and then you come out with their message. He came out on his video, there was this tag, diversity of faith. No, there's no diversity of faith, there's only one. There's only their faith, which is Jesus Christ, that does that. And so for him to have come out and then say that, it shows he's going back to the Roman Catholic faith. You remember John Paul II? He tried this. He tried to unite people. It didn't work out. He had the Dalai Lamas, whatnot. He had all kinds of people. And then you had Francis finally get people like Kenneth Copeland and a couple of Protestant movement people through one other father, what. I forgot the entire thing. It happened, I think, about a year or 2 years back ago or so. They had an entire convention at Kenneth Copeland's church. And went through this father, what. I forgot the name of the guy. But the Catholic Church has been trying to do that. But with Francis, they've achieved a lot with that by trying to get the church with the flag people under one banner and whatnot, and a lot of these agendas basically. And so that was one of those things. And you'll remember the Abrahamic house completes that. Because the Abrahamic house has a Christian church, so-called, which is a Catholic church, by the way. It's saying something. A Muslim mosque and a Jewish synagogue. Now, all of this being the roots of the whole thing, it will show you something. Atheism is not the faith of the end time. And this is the biggest deception. I need to explain this, and I'll make an entire video. I'll make a separate video so that I can detail where you see it. Atheism is not, I repeat, atheism is not the belief system for the end time. Atheism is just a self-deception, basically. This whole thing of I'm agnostic, I don't believe in nothing. At the end time, you're going to have to believe something. For a being, think about it, for a being to come and impose a mark under his govern, you have to believe something. He has to have showed something. He has to have done something. That's why the Bible says he goes as far as even giving power to the image of the beast. So there must be some form of belief. So New Age, if you think about it, the New Age agenda, Pan-African root teaching for African people, right? Which brings up this whole teaching of umkulu, what. If you think about that whole thing of umkulu, and you look at the roots of it, it sounds New Age. Because the mother God and what, you heard Bishop Makponga talking about it a bit. And I was like, why is he going that route? Because that's a deception, that one. That one we all know. I don't know why he was teaching that. But hey, to each man his own. He wrote a book about it, finding yourself. There's no self you are finding outside finding God. Your definition for yourself is you're going to find that in God. So, a New Age agenda, the Pan-Africanist teaching of African roots of belief, and all these things that they bring up, and the ancestral worship belief systems and whatnot, all of them, they go back to New Age, because it's the ancestors that give you gifts. It's the ancestors that are the judges, that tell you what to do. If you don't do it, they will turn your life upside down. What is this? This is all New Age, witchcraft, and whatever you may call it. Wicca. Let's go back to Freemasonry. So the Catholics failed at doing it. Now they try to achieve it, but now the Muslims have finally done it with the Abrahamic house. So for him to have gone there and prayed there, that was just quite telling. Let's talk about Freemasonry. How did Freemasonry try to do this? Freemasonry brought about all these night organizations through the Catholic Church, right? The Illuminati, for example. The Illuminati being one of them, they had an entire inquiry. Because remember, some of the founding guys, they had issues with belief systems that were intruding into the private life, right? So they wanted to restrict that. And so that being the goal then, the goal was to teach people something else. So spiritualism fits, okay? And so, and remember, they try to achieve this by stopping they try to stop it by stopping the Protestant movement. You go research that entire thing and what they were doing with trying to stop the Protestant movement and all that. The goal was to stop the Protestant movement because it strayed away from the Catholic. So they were like, no, the Catholic Church is the mother of all churches. They no longer use this term. But if you were a Catholic like 10, 15 years ago, which I was, this was a term that we used to use, that everybody's going to come back to the Catholic Church and all that kind of stuff. So since they failed to unite us and we all broke off into the Protestant movement, now the Muslims have achieved it with the Abrahamic house. So the Illuminati was also a band that used that. We spoke about that when we spoke about Adam Weishaupt. Weishaupt was an educator. He was very much annoyed with teachers, with bishops being the ones that are teaching our society how to run their lives. He wanted other things to be taught. They wanted to empower all faiths, all belief systems, all things, but without showing themselves. You remember that entire code that we made when we were defining the roots of the Illuminati and stuff. Okay? Is that the Illuminati's goal was to be seen without having its name on it. And so these faiths do that. They all separate themselves, Pan-Africanists, whatnot. They define themselves without showing that the roots is coming from things. Then you have all these factions like your weaker spiritualism. Weaker spiritualism has now involved itself into yoga medicine, into yoga healing practices and yoga practitioners and Hinduism and what do they call it? Baba something. This spiritualism that seeks to just receive. They say open yourself up when you practice it in order for you to be involved, your chakra, whatever. This weaker spiritualism try to achieve that, but because it sounds so satanic and the teachings are so far off, it didn't really do it, right? So everybody's branching off into whatever fits their thing. For Pan-Africanists, for Africanists, it's Pan-Africanism. Now there's a new movement from America called the Hebrew Israelite movement. And that entire movement is to say black people are the original Hebrews. The question is, what do you believe? It's whether you are a Hebrew of Hebrew. That's just, it's that thing now. Funny enough, it's now finding itself in South Africa. They are here now. They are now trying to plant themselves all over the place. You'll see them having debates in parks and whatnot. Their usual stuff. Basically to overpower people with knowledge and then kind of get people. What is that? It's all an agenda to overwhelm people with information and get you one way or another. If you're not founded in doctrine, they'll get you somewhere. These roots are all roots that lead to one. Atheism is not the goal. The goal is for one to acknowledge some form of spiritualism. Now let's tackle the last one, which is Freemasonry. How did Freemasonry try to achieve that? Freemasonry, remember, the core values of, like, the first top two values of Freemasonry is, first of all, one must believe in a supreme being. They don't say who. They just say, for a person to come into thingy, you must acknowledge the supreme being. Whether it be Satan, whether it be Allah, whether it be Jesus, God, what, or your spiritual leader, or you're a cultist, there must be a spiritual thingy that you hold, a thing. So atheism doesn't do it. Okay? The belief system of the Antichrist, it's some form of spiritualism. Pan-Africanism, dangerous thing. Why? Because it now teaches, it has a theology, it has a root movement, it has a spiritual teaching thing, it has a history thingy, like, so it covers the everything of an individual. It's not just teaching about spiritualism, or no, it has a practice. It has instruction manuals with the ancestors and being the ones that tell us what, like the whole thing. So the idea is to get people believing something. So that's why I said in that video, Alph has joined, because the goal of the Antichrist movement, if you read the Thessalonians, the book of Thessalonians says, the goal of the Antichrist is to come into the temple so that he, like God, will be worshipped. So if the goal is to come into the temple and be worshipped, you can't do that with an unbeliever. The goal is for you to be believing something, some supreme thingy and whatnot. That's the goal. The goal is just getting people believing in things. That's why that move of him going there and praying there, that was just a lot. Because the goal of the Antichrist, let's understand what it is to get you believing something. Doesn't have to be Christianity. It mustn't be Christianity, as a matter of fact. It's everything else, tolerant of everything else, except this. I saw this recent, the death of this other, what's the name of this, this lady? I think I wrote her name down. I just want to remember. She passed away I think about last week or so. Her name was, I think I wrote it down. I hope I can remember it. Unfortunately, I cut it out. Must have deleted it or something. There's a musician that recently passed away from, I don't know if she's from Russia or she's from the US or she's from what. This musician was from Christian roots. Yeah, I must have deleted it. She's from some form of Christian roots or something. And at a point when she was going towards her death, she had strayed from her Christian roots and was portraying a very evil personality in her music and stuff. And before you know it, she's now a Muslim. So at the time she died, she was a Muslim. It's to get you away from thinking and believing in something else. And that's why theology is so important. It's not miracles, guys. No. Miracles and signs and what. The people that emphasize these things, I really question if you've seen the Bible. Miracles are ones that Satan uses to authenticate his people. He can fake it up and do whatever and all that in order for people to come to him and believe whatever it is he's peddling. The goal of the end time, or the goal of the faith of the end time, is a belief in something. Doesn't matter what. That's why that move of him going to that temple and praying there under their ban, yeah, for me that was a lot, because he's acknowledging that entire thing that the Catholics have been trying to achieve for a very long time, which the Muslims, which the Masons have been trying to get us to acknowledge for a very long time. It's unity. The unity agenda, it goes beyond. Now you see, now they've started this thing of the hearings for the Americans, the hearings for aliens. Just believe something. They've started these hearings of thinking. Personally, I'm not on that bandwagon of whether there's aliens, there's no aliens. We've never heard of anything alien. The only thing that we know of is demons. That's what we know. Aliens, no. All this while, they only land in America. They don't know they must land here. There's no aliens, only demons. That's why I had an issue with that when that other prophet was saying there's going to be aliens manifesting. I was like, why are you preaching their doctrine? That's their agenda. To get us believing something else except the truth. Believing something else except God. Believing someone else except Jesus. The focus must go away into something else. Us coming into this false unity, personally, that's why I like clarity. I don't believe this. It's that. It's simple. It says that. I want it to be clear. I don't want you to mix it up or think maybe I consider it. I don't consider it. It's not true. Period. Straightforward. That's what I personally prefer. All this mushy stuff of being in the middle. Don't want to say, hey, for me, it's a big red flag. That's why in that video I said that. I said he's joining because the agenda is false unity. When Muslims now claim unity with Christians, how? Because we preach differently. I explained in that video the difference between theological positions and stuff. I hope you did watch it. That was very lengthy. It was very well detailed. I showed the difference between what's in the Quran and what's in the Bible. And so I hope now you can understand why I say that whole move of him going there. It's very dangerous, man. Because why? The goal of the Antichrist. Let's not just look at, there's a deception. Let's look at the goal of it. The goal is uniting in faiths, where we just acknowledge all kinds of spirits and we can be here with kundalinis, and that's why doctrine is so important, because it separates all of those things. It's Ricky. See you another time.